All right, what's up, gang? I'm just going to BS for a little bit, give people time to trickle in as I am signing in to all of my sportsbook accounts. Going to be doing as I always do, just hitting some bets. So, yeah, put in the comments if you have any questions. I'll try to get to more of those than I have in the previous ones. I just don't have, sometimes I don't have a ton of time in these videos, and I want to make them as basically informative as possible in terms of like hitting bets and stuff. So that's just why I sometimes don't always get to all the questions. And like sometimes some platforms, that's the word I was looking for, DFS platforms I just can't use, which is frustrating. Like I can't use Prize Picks, can't use Underdog. So I don't normally, like, I'll do a video for it just to kind of give people something to look for, but I personally can't really use any of those. But anyways, so yeah, let's hammer some bets. So I'm going to turn the filters off. So one thing I will say is I'm heavily limited on so many books like BetMGM, BetRivers, PointsBet being the main ones that I just have them filtered out, because it's some of them, it's like with PointsBet and with BetRivers, it's really not worth my time. So if you don't see anything for those specific sports books, that is why. So, all right, let's refresh. Let's look at the ARB page as well, and we can just get right into it. So none of these, so this is for a soccer game today. I actually have something on this. So if the good bet is on PointsBet, then I would recommend you guys take it. Unfortunately, yeah, I mean, this is awesome. If you have PointsBet, hammer this, absolutely hammer this. I would put a full unit on this one. PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, team total under 1.5. This is an absolutely incredible bet. Plus 100 at PointsBet. Look at how much every team, or every, every sportsbook favors this under. This is absolutely incredible. I would definitely recommend hammering this full unit if you have PointsBet. Looks like this is the same game. If the play here is on DraftKings, I can put a little bit on it. DraftKings also has me limited. But no, this is another really good one on PointsBet. Bayern plus a half Asian handicap, minus 160 at PointsBet. I mean, I would risk to win a unit. So for me, a unit's $100. I would put $160 on this one. It's really, really good. It's frustrating being limited, but that's just also the nature of the beast. All right, so let's start looking at some actual positive EV bets that I can place, because I unfortunately cannot with. All right, so let's see. So we got this one I already locked in. This one's good. I put $75 on this one. I will say, if you haven't, this one's on FanDuel. Manchester City team total over 2.5 plus 142. So I scaled my unit size down a little bit on this one. I put $75 on this one, which is 3/4 of a unit for me. Basically, my logic is I'll put a unit on something, but then I'll scale it up or down a little bit, mostly based on the win percentage. So I don't have like a perfect system for this, but essentially the way it works is like anything that is below 45%, I'll scale down to $75 as opposed to 100. And then if there's something like, let's see if there's an example. Sometimes you'll find a play that's like, has like 60% chance of hitting. I might scale that one up to like 1.5 units or something, but I don't have like a specific system. But this one's really good. Manchester City team total over 2.5. It's plus 142 on FanDuel. Looking across the board, like plus 126 down to plus 115. This one's really good. Long story short, one bet that I haven't locked in yet, we can see, is Clippers versus Warriors over 228.5. This one is another one that's really good. We're getting it for plus 105, so plus money. Looking at the books, we see like Bookmaker and BetOnline have it at exactly 50-50. Pinnacle basically has it at 50-50. So this one's really good. FoxBet has me limited as well, but I can get a little bit more than normal on FoxBet. So let's see, we're looking at over 228.5. The cool thing about FoxBet is you can just click max. So like 35.71 isn't a ton of money, but it's better than what PointsBet lets me get, and BetMGM. Sometimes FoxBet's weird about location. Yeah, like I have to wait again to place it. But this one's really good. If you have FoxBet, I would put a full unit. I would put $100 on this one. Warriors versus Clippers over 228.5 plus 105 odds. That one's really good. Like I said, I'd put a full unit on it. So let's just give these pages a refresh as I'm waiting for Fox Bet to accept this bet. As I'll take a sip. And perfect. So this one was placed. Again, I can only get 35.71, but this one's really good. So I would definitely recommend, like I said, full unit on this one. So here's an example of one that I would actually scale down. Let's see if this one's worth it. I would put half a unit on this one. Like the win percentage here is like 31%, which is not me saying we should totally avoid it. Just we should scale down our unit size a little bit. But let's see if this one's good. Basically, what I want to do, I want to view this event page in a new tab, and I want to see, is this plus EV to both BetOnline and Pinnacle, which I'm guessing it's not. If it is, then I'll hit it. But I'm guessing it's not because BetOnline is kind of close at plus 210. But let's see. So we're looking at basically, is the no vig line higher or lower than 220? And it's at 221. Yeah, I didn't think it would be. So I'm going to avoid this one. It's not plus EV to BetOnline and Pinnacle. So I'm going to go ahead and avoid it. This one, excuse me. Here are two bets that I did already hit. The books aren't as common. Play up. If you do have play up, plus 122 odds on Oklahoma State money line. It's plus EV to both BetOnline and Pinnacle, and I think it was neutral to Bookmaker. So I figured that was a good one to hit. OK State money line plus 122. I also hit this one. I got it on Circa. If you have any of these three, this one is good as well. Air Force versus Utah State under 139. I hit it on Circa. And let's actually see if this one's still good because the odds seem to change around a little bit. So we're taking under 139. So what we want to see is, okay, where does every sportsbook price this total? Like, let's see if we're getting a good value. And Bookmaker and BetOnline have it at 138.5. They had it at 138 when I locked it in. This one is still good. It's not as good as it was when I took it, but I would still recommend putting the full unit on this one. We're still beating the closing line. Like Pinnacle has this main line at like 137.5. Looks like Tipico does too. But every other book has it at 138.5 as opposed to 137.5. So it's not as good as it was initially, but I would still hit it. I think that one's still good. As long as you're getting an edge and you're beating the closing line, that'll work out in the long run. So it looks like the main line of Warriors Clippers is plus EV as well. This one is, this one's pretty good. Let's see how much. Fox Bet normally lets me get a little bit more on main market. So although it looks like the odds changed. So we wanted the odds did change. So it's no longer available. So never mind. It was good. It's not, well, I guess if you have, let's see, we wanted over 227. Yeah, the odds changed. So that one is no longer available, unfortunately. That's what happens when you aren't able to immediately lock something in. All right, so this one we locked in, this one we avoided, this one the odds changed. So let's look at this one. This is another one. Yeah, I'm not going to take as well. It's not plus EV to Pinnacle, so I'm not going to take this one. Georgetown first half spread plus 6.5. I'm probably not going to take this one because it looks like it's not plus EV to Bookmaker as well. And I try to make sure that I'm getting something that's plus EV to like the majority of sharp sports books, but we can check. So let's look at this one in a new tab. Basically, going to remove the VIG, see what the no VIG line for Bookmaker is. Yeah, it's minus 107. So going to go ahead and avoid this one. The odds changed on this one. So here is a hockey one. We're looking at Blackhawks Canadians under 5.5. This one looks good right off the bat. Tipico's close. Bet Rivers is close, but it looks like it's plus EV to the majority of books. So let's check out this one. It looks good initially, but you want to make sure you do that extra research. So we're looking at Blackhawks Canadians under 5.5 plus 136 odds on FanDuel. What we're doing is we're removing the VIG and we're making sure that the plus 136 is plus EV to the majority of books. So it is to BetMGM, Betfred, Caesars. It's not to these three, but it is to Pinnacle. Pinnacle is the most important one, and it is still the majority of sports books. Looks like it's kind of in the middle. So this one I will take. This one is good. Of course, FanDuel is the glitchiest sports book out there, despite being as popular. All right, we're good. As popular as they are. So we're looking at Blackhawks, Canadians, alternate total goals under 5.5. So this one I'm going to put 3/4 of, well, I would put 3/4 of a unit on, but I'm putting 73.50, roughly to win $100. It seems where they have me limited to. So let me add this one to my bet tracker. It was 73. Tracking your bets is incredibly important. You got to make sure that you understand whether you're profitable or not. Unfortunately, you will have some weeks that I'm currently having where I am just getting annihilated. And for those of you, obviously, most people who know me know that I'm a psychotic Eagles fan, because there are no non-psychotic Eagles fans. But if you just want to recap about how the past couple days have been, Wednesday through Saturday, smoked, annihilated, lost like 2K, over 2K, 2.2K in those 5 days. Had a good Super Bowl, had a good Sunday. Guess what happened in the Super Bowl? Eagles lost. That sucked. The next day, down 1K. So it hasn't been a fun couple, about a week or so for me, to be honest with you. But so far, so good with my tennis bets today, up to 39. Down for the month of February, which is frustrating because if you look at my monthly profit over time, I don't think I've had a down month since August or July. It's been an incredible run since then. So I guess I'm due for a down month. I wish it happened not when the Eagles lost the Super Bowl, because I really, really hated that. But whatever, what can you do? And this always takes a while to load because there's just so much data that is being. So yeah, the last down month I had was July. So I mean, I was barely up in August, but like since then it's been really good. 3K, 2.3K, 2.9K, 6K. And I guess this is still looking at January, but this looks like everything might be a little bit of a month behind, but whatever. Not either way, down this month, it's not great. Hopefully we'll pick it up. So yeah, that's variance for you. All right, so it looks like there were double. These are always fun. I mean, this looks good. Plus 370, PointsBet at plus 340. BetRivers at plus 310. These obviously I scaled down a significant amount. If I were to take this one, I would put 1/4 of a unit on it. But let's see, just removing the VIG for De'Aaron Fox, and let's see what the other books have it at. So it's plus 370. Yeah, I mean, PointsBet doesn't have the under. But yeah, I mean, this is wildly beating the closing line for the majority of books. So I'm going to take this one. I'm just going to scale down. I'm going to put 1/4 of a unit on this one. So we're looking at double for De'Aaron Fox plus like 370 odds, $25. So that's kind of like, you still want to take bets like this because, like, I mean, crazy stuff happens in the NBA all the time. And you are getting a value on it, which is all you're really looking for with these types of plays. So I will take it. I'm just going to unit size it down. So I put 1/4 of a unit on De'Aaron Fox double. All right, so let's refresh this page. Let's see what else we got going for us. So, all right, this is one that I already hit. Actually, I took over 155. It's been bet all the way up to 158.5. So here's an interesting opportunity. I could either let it ride, because clearly the bet that I took has insane value. The point or the total went up by 3.5 points. So I could either let that ride and say I have an awesome plus EV bet, or I could middle it and basically say if it lands at 156, 157, or 158, I will have won both my bets and I can double up. And that's actually what I'm going to do. There's not a perfect strategy when it comes to this, and the play was St. John's versus DePaul. I wouldn't blame people if they didn't want to middle it, if they just wanted to let their plus EV bet ride. But in this case, it is such a good value. So it's like I said, a 3 point total where it could land and I could win both bets. And if it lands at exactly 155, then I will have pushed one and won the other. So that's that is a strategy. Middling is a strategy. I'll do it in this case. I'm not going to say one's better than the other. If you want to let it ride, I wouldn't blame you at all. It really depends on how risk averse you are. If you are willing to be a little bit more risky in terms of profits, then hit it. If you're not, then don't. It's as simple as that. But not one's better than the other. Like, I'm not going to say this strategy is definitely better than another one. So let me refresh these two pages. See if I can get a couple more in, and then I'll skedaddle. Got some other stuff to do. All right, so here is one. Oh, yeah, I'm going to avoid this one. It's not even plus EV to, like, it would only be plus EV to Pinnacle. So I'm going to avoid that one. This one we've already looked at. This one we've already looked at. This one we've already looked at. So let's look at Syracuse team total under 74.5 as soon as this loads. So it's minus 104 on FanDuel. Looks like most books favor the under. Play Up, Pinnacle, and SBK and DraftKings favor the under. Tipico's 50-50. BetRivers favors the over. Let's look into the other markets and let's see where everybody prices this. That's the most important thing, is where every other sportsbook prices it. Obviously, since it's a team total, there's not going to be as many books for it, but we can still see. So it's only these. All right, so let's remove the VIG and see. So we're getting minus 104. Let's see if that beats the closing line for the majority of books. It's neutral to DraftKings. All right, yeah, so I'm actually going to avoid this one. And this is why it's important to look, because this is plus EV to only, I mean, Pinnacle is obviously the sharpest sportsbook. It's given the heaviest weight. But this bet is only plus EV to Pinnacle, and it's neutral to DraftKings, and it's negative EV to every other sportsbook. So that's an example of one, obviously, that I would avoid for that reason. This one I took. This one's good. I put $50 on this one. Tennis one, Alex Day, Menard, money line plus 205. It's plus EV to both BetOnline and Pinnacle. So despite it being over plus 200 odds, I still hit it. So I recommend taking that one as well. Let's look at this first half one. Over 62 first half spread. First half total. So if this is plus EV to BetOnline, I'll take it. I'm guessing it's going to be neutral. I think that's how the odds shake out. Let's see. So it's barely negative. So this one is, yeah, this one's tough. So I'll let you know kind of what I'm thinking through. It's very plus EV to Pinnacle. Pinnacle Novig line is minus 119. Circa has it at minus 110. It's not plus EV to BetOnline. BetOnline has it at minus 109, but bookmaker prices it a half point higher, and they favor the over. And Pinnacle has the main line of this at 63. So this one's tough. I wish there was a rule book saying that you should bet it or not. I am going to take this one because it is plus EV to both Pinnacle. It's got a good value to bookmaker. And while it is negative EV to BetOnline, it's by a point, and it's still 2 out of 3 is still good. So I struggle like specifically like what's best in situations like that where it's kind of nebulous. It honestly just depends kind of on how you feel. But again, for the logic that I talked about, it being plus like heavily plus EV to Pinnacle, definitely good to bookmaker, and then slightly negative EV to BetOnline. So I'm going to go ahead and take this one. Again, if you don't have Circa, then it's a non-issue. It doesn't matter. It's a moot point. But obviously, hopefully that kind of thought process helps you with future betting opportunities where you aren't sure if you should hit it or not. You kind of understand what I'm thinking through. So here's another soccer one. Over 3.5 total goals. If it's plus EV to both of these books, I'll take it. Let's find out. So we're looking at Novig line of BetRivers and Pinnacle, and is it better or worse than plus 215 for over 3.5? And it is. So I'm going to go ahead and take this one. I'm going to put $50 on it, half a unit, because of how unlikely it is that the play itself hits, 32.17%. But it is still plus EV to both these books, so I'm going to take it. And I think this is the Serie A league, if I remember correctly. Udinese, and this is versus Inter, yes. So we're looking for over 3.5 plus 215. Nice little $50 play, and we are good to go. So another one for you guys. All right, I'm going to find one more that's really good. It's a lock. It's a guarantee to hit. Just kidding. There are no such things as locks. And then I'm going to skedaddle on out of here and get some other stuff. So this one I avoided. Yes. This one I avoided. Let's look at this player prop. Terrence Mann under 16.5 PRA. Minus 115 at FanDuel. right off the bat, this looks really good. Both Pinnacle and BetOnline heavily favor it, but let's look into it a little bit more. So, all right, so we don't have odds. It's interesting that we have nothing from DraftKings for this one. So this is definitely going to be plus EV to Pinnacle and BetOnline, and probably not to the other sports books if I had to guess, but let's find out. Yeah, so this is an interesting case of like it's heavily plus EV to BetOnline and Pinnacle, but it's negative EV to Bookmaker or to BetMGM and Caesars. And you can ignore and BetRivers. So you can ignore Underdog and Prize Picks because they're DFS companies. So this is another situation where there's no perfect answer. To me, if it's plus EV to both Bookmaker and BetOnline, that is a good sign because those you obviously give heavier weight to. So we're looking for points, rebounds, assists. Terrence Mann. I'm going to risk to win $75, so it's 86.25. Going to lock this one in. Again, situations like that, I think that's what I put on it, right? 86.25. Yes. Situations like that, there's no perfect scenario. I would understand people that say, hey, I know it's plus EV to both of the sharp sports books, but it's negative EV to every other book, so I'm going to avoid it. I would not blame people that thought that. My thought process is if the sharp sports books, it is plus EV to them, it's my assumption is, and this obviously isn't going to be correct 100% of the time, that sports books like BetRivers and BetMGM, they have such heavily limits that they can't, especially for player props, that they can't adequately and accurately reflect the market the way a BetOnline and Pinnacle can. Yes, those two sports books also have limits specifically for player props, but they're not as high as they are for like the onshore books, the regulated ones like a BetMGM and BetRivers. So the guess here is that as the day goes on, those sports books are going to have their lines more closely. There you go. That's what I'm looking for. More closely aligned to BetOnline and Pinnacle as the day goes on. That is my assumption. It's not going to be right 100% of the time. It will probably be right more often than not, and that's really all you're looking for. So last play here, Terrence Mann under 16.5 PRA as my last play for this live stream. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Definitely make sure to hit me up on Twitter as you can see at my handle Jedi Modi. Comment with any questions, like, subscribe, comment to my new YouTube channel as I attempt to grow that. And that's it. So appreciate you guys watching. Have a good one.